So we're gonna have a tale of two cities session today. This is how it's going to work. We're going to review a little bit the chapters you've read with Teacher Kiara so far, and then we're going to read it. Now, what's cool about this pre-recorded thing is that I skip the parts that aren't as entertaining to read together. I can say like, okay, so just read starting from here and then up a sentence. And in this lesson or in this reading session, I will say, okay, so read these parts, pause this video, read these parts, and then play only after you've read that, because we'll read the rest together. Because of course, there are certain parts in this that are more enjoyable to have read to you or to read together. All right, so you can also choose to watch this video together. I know there's Netflix party now. Maybe we can tale of two party where you will tell your classmates, guys, let's watch the Tale of Two Cities video of cheering on together, so that you're reading it and you're listening to me at the same time. So that's up to you already. But the reason why I am doing this, Trikara and I are still doing this, is because we don't want you to assign this book. We don't just assign this book like all the other books. The book for good in grade 10. We want to read this with you guys good. And we still want the experience of reading together with you guys. Sure, talk about it again. This is also books. We love this book, you guys, and so far every grade 10 class has also loved this book. There's something special about this book, A Tale of Two Cities, and it's officially the last book reading in CF. There's a reason for that, because this book is awesome and amazing. Oh, by the way, if you want long, you can read your own copy. If you don't have your copy, there is a copy in Scribd. So Scribd is free for this month, so it's perfect time. If you don't have a physical copy of A Tale of Two Cities, you get a Scribd so that you can read along with us or with me and with Teacher Kiara and with your classmates. Or you can also read, when I'll tell you to pause the video and read this part, you can do that easily and you won't miss out on anything, right? Okay? So the first part of this lesson will be a kind of a quick review of the first. You started reading the first 5 chapters, so we're going to review that a little bit. But before we do that, guys, let's have a bit of a background on Charles Dickens. Okay? So Charles Dickens is the author. He is English. So he's British. He's a British author, one of the most famous ones. He's up there, good guys, with Jane Austen. They kind of say that Jane Austen and Charles Dickens are the great English novelists. All right, not Shakespeare level. However, they are close to being that level good. Okay, Charles Dickens. Something that I don't know if Teacher Kara told this to you, but the thing with Charles Dickens is he's known for his plots good. His plots are amazing good. The reason why they're so amazing because of the way he wrote his stories. He didn't write entire books at once and he would release them. Okay, what would happen, guys, was he was a serial writer, not a writer. He would release his books chapter by chapter, or sometimes in groups of chapters, slowly over time. For example, it could be after a week or a couple of weeks or a month, he would then release the next few. So it was really like the show, okay? And because of this, guys, he knew that it had That had to be exciting and engaging all throughout. He was actually the author that started cliffhangers. We know what a cliffhanger is, right? It means when a story ends in a cliffhanger, an exciting part that will make the readers want to continue the story. That's what you call a cliffhanger. They do it a lot in TV. The episode ended with a cliffhanger. And with cliffhangers so that people would anticipate for the next episode or the next chapter, and then they would pick it up the moment it came out, and then they would continue reading it. And actually, the reason why it's called cliffhanger is because of Charles Dickens. He in one of his books, his earlier books, he ended his chapter with a man hanging off a cliff. Okay, so that's where the term cliffhanger came from. It came from Charles Dickens. All right, now see. Charles Dickens, guys, that's just a little bit of information about Charles Dickens and the kind of writer that he is good. All right? So if you look, these are some of his books. I will move myself over here. Okay, so A Tale of Two Cities. Let's look at my copy. Proud of it. Great Expectations, Oliver Twist, Hard Times, A Christmas Carol, Scrooge, he wrote that. Okay, David Copperfield, Nicholas Nickleby, and The Mystery of Edwin Drood. So, he just some of his most famous works, but he had approximately 23 novels. He wrote 23 novels, and his last novel was The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And the thing about this, guys, is Dickens is known for his plots because they're so intricate. And he likes adding a lot of mystery to his novel. So as we will review his work, you will notice this even in the first few chapters. There's a lot of mystery already. There are a lot of questions, and that's what he liked to do. So with Edwin Drood, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, it's very frustrating because he never ended. He didn't end it because he died before he could finish it. So it's a very talked about book in the literary world because hardcore Dickens fans try to solve the mystery of Edwin Drood good. They try to solve it on who the killer is because it's a murder mystery. I think it was a little boy that was killed. And there are so many fan theories about it on how Dickens would have ended it, what the big reveal was, but we don't know because he passed before he could finish writing it. But just to show you how intricate and complicated his plots and his mysteries are in his books. He likes to build up a question so much so that it's so satisfying when you reach the end and you get the answer. And we will see that even as we review and read through A Tale of Two Cities today. All right, so A Tale of Two Cities. I will move myself again. Let's have a little bit of our review. So The Tale of Two Cities is divided into 3 books. So it's a combination of 3 books. And the first is called Recalled to Life. So chapter 1 was the period, all right? And basically the most iconic, so obviously the 2 cities that we're talking about here are England and London, and then we have France, okay? So we have England and we have France. All right. So the most iconic thing was, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That's the most iconic quote. It starts out, it's considered to be one of the best opening lines in all of literature. To show, I know Chircara talked to you about this, to show how the rich were very, very rich, the poor were very, very poor. There was no real middle ground. It was a time of extremes good. Okay, and this is about the French Revolution. So this sense of extremism will be very important in the novel. So again, we talked about that, the 2 things. So chapter 2 is the male. I'm sure you read this also. So the first few chapters, guys, chapter 2 to chapter 3, 4, 5, where does it take place? Does it take place in England or does it take place in France? Okay, I will pause, try to remember. Francis, do you know it? Izzy, do you know it? Yam Yam, what man? it happens in France, okay? So it takes place in France. However, it's mostly British people we're talking about, especially in the first few chapters. Everyone's British, but they're all in France. So chapter 2 is the male. So we met Jarvis Lorry. So I know Teacher Kiara told you no nga we're very OC about this movie. We have casted this movie na good in our heads. After having read it so many times. So Jarvis Lorry, we like Martin Freeman as Jarvis Lorry because he looks like a nice guy, but he also looks like he could be very strict and he's friendly, but he's also a very no-nonsense kind of character, si Jarvis Lorry. So this is the one, and he was in the carriage. I'm sure also Teacher talked to you about how good of a writer Dickens is. If you feel like you have to reread it, guys, because I know it's been a few weeks since you've read it, reread it, especially the descriptions in the mail. The fog. I know Teacher Kiara already talked to you about how cinematic Charles Dickens is. He's a very cinematic writer, good. And so he loves adding visual kayo ni si Charles Dickens. You can really, when you read his books, it's like you're watching a movie. If you're just using your imaginations right, he's very good with the details and with describing the mood of the story. And if you just take the time to really imagine it, you will imagine it very well. So the mail, it's very atmospheric. It's very the carriage traveling at nighttime, the fog coming in, and then the dark rider kind of coming out of the darkness, the fear, the terror of that. Very, very good writing. Okay, and then we also met Jerry Cruncher. He's a messenger of Tellson's Bank that Lorry works for. Lorry is a banker. And I don't know if Teacher Kara told this to you also, but in this time, guys, banks did not only hold money, they held secrets good. The currency of the time wasn't just cash, it was secrets. So wills, inheritances, they dealt a lot with the secrets of people. So usually when we think of banking now, we just think of money. But before, in this time, it was information good. Secrets that they would have to reveal or keep secret based on what was required of the banker. All right, so Tellson's isn't just a business establishment. It's an establishment that's built on the secrets of other people. And well, Dickens loves secrets good a lot. So Cruncher is a messenger for Tellson's. So we got Adam Driver for this. We cast, and this is who we casted for Cruncher. Cruncher, guys, he's not of the same class as Lorry. Jarvis Lorry is very, he's very professional. But see, Cruncher he's kind of like, he's of a lower class good. He's a messenger man, and he delivers the message katong recalled to life. Very important, guys. One thing with Dickens is things in the first few chapters are so important for the rest of the story. He doesn't give throwaway details. Everything has a purpose. And this message recalled to life is very important. And this was a quote he gave, he ended chapter 2 with this: recalled to life, that's a blazing strange message. Much of that wouldn't do for you, Jerry. I say, Jerry, you'd be in a blazing bad way if recalling to life was to come into fashion, Jerry. So it's a very important quote, recalled to life. And take note, good, that we are even introduced our first few mysteries in this chapter, which is still chapter 2. Okay, what does recalled to life mean? And then Jerry said, the messenger of Tellson said, oh my, if being recalled to life, if people coming back from the dead were true, that would be very bad for Jerry. Jerry would be in a lot of trouble if people coming back to life were really happening. All right, so we kind of have that question already, like, why would he be in trouble if people resurrecting would happen? And what does recalled to life mean? Okay, chapter 3, the night shadows. So see, this is where Lorry is kind of thinking about the message, and he keeps having strange dreams. So for the rest of his ride, so this is dream dialogue. He was dreaming this, and he kept imagining delivering the message and what it would lead to. Buried how long? The answer was always the same, almost 18 years. You had abandoned all hope of being dug out long ago. You know that you are recalled to life. Tell me so. I hope you care to live. I can't say. Okay? This keeps repeating. He kept having this dream over and over again in this dark, twisted, foggy night, the carriage ride. Good. Okay? Also, please take note, it mentioned here, was he traveling alone? In this chapter, was he traveling by himself in the carriage? Think about it. Was he? Luis? Was he? Sam? Was he traveling alone? He was not traveling alone. There were two other people in the carriage. They were all bundled up. They couldn't see each other's faces at all. Very small detail, very important later on. Okay? So he keeps having this dream, guys. I hope you care to live. I can't say. And it's someone who's been buried alive for 18 years, and it's Lorry's job to kind of dig him out, to be buried alive for 18 years. That's how that chapter ends. And then we have the preparation. So the preparation was, honestly, the first part of this chapter, it's very slow. It's about him arriving at his destination. It's about him kind of cleaning up and putting on a brown suit. It's very detailed and it's slow. That's actually one of the parts that I wouldn't like reading out loud because it's a little bit where nothing really happens. It's him just preparing for something, okay? So it's a little bit slow, but then later in the chapter, we get introduced to more characters. So we get introduced to a beautiful girl, Lucy Manette. We got Lily James for this. She's our actress for the role. So Lucy Manette is introduced, and she is very pretty. She recognizes Mr. Murray. She knows Mr. Lorry. Like, you look familiar. Do I know you? And then Mr. Lorry is trying to be very professional. Nga. I will tell you why I have asked you to come here. So can you see Lucy Manette? She is from England. However, she is half English, half French. Her father is French. Her mother was English. Was British. Before we go there, so see Lucy, she had to go there, guys, because Mr. Lorry's job in France is really connected to Lucy. He tells her about her father, a doctor, who was supposedly dead, either dead or something worse than death happened to him, and so Mr. Lorry had to bring her, because her mother died also. He had to bring Lucy when she was a baby. He had to bring her to from France to England. So that's why Lucy kind of said, "Hello, that's why I did know you." See, Mr. Lorry was the one who brought baby Lucy to England because she lost her parents in France. And then he told her that her father is not dead. That's why recalled to life. They discovered that her father, who has been assumed dead for 18 years, actually isn't dead. And they need her to kind of confirm it's him, or they need her to be the one to get him, to identify him, to take care of him. And Lucy was like, oh my, she feels like it's gonna be like seeing a ghost. She fainted, and then we meet our next character, see Miss Frost, we're hiring Meryl Streep for this because our budget's that big. So Miss Frost is kind of the character, the governess of Lucy. So she's kind of like a friend and a teacher, a motherly figure for Lucy. She loves Lucy very much, and I'm sure you read this with Chikara. It's very funny when she runs in and she kind of throws Lorry, but she's a big woman, a strong woman, and she's so worried about Lucy. I think she calls her Lady Bird. She's so worried about her. She kind of pushes Mr. Lorry, and Mr. Lorry kind of flies and hits the wall. And we're introduced to these three characters. Good. All right. So that's chapter 4. So now we're in chapter 5, the wine shop, which I know you started reading. I will end this video for now. We're gonna have a part 2 where we'll start going through the wine shop also. I know you started reading this, but we will finish it together. We'll read chapter 6, and then we will also do book 2, chapter 1. That's what our goal is for this lesson. But I'll end this video for now because I don't want you to have so many one long video. I'd rather it's smaller, maybe 3 smaller videos rather than one long video. Okay, so you can play the second video now.